Hey guys, Stephanie with Steffy and Jules, and in today's video, I'll be answering a few common questions that most beginners ask when starting with resin. So let's get started. Now, this question has always been a beginner's first question when they start with resin. So here you go. The first thing you need to get started with resin is, of course, resin. You need to choose whether you want to use UV or epoxy, which is also known as two-part resin. You also will need some type of molds, depending if you want to start with a big project or a small project, as well as mixing cups, as well as stirrers. Now, mixing cups can be silicone or paper. I personally like to use silicone because it's easier to clean and it is environmental friendly. Same thing with the sticks. Now, you can use popsicle sticks, you can use straws, you can use toothpicks. Either way, I still like to use silicone stirrers because once again, it is easier to clean and is environmental friendly. So you got your resin, you got your molds. Next, you need some type of additive. And what I mean by additive is you need something to mix with your resin, whether that is glitter, some type of pigment, or inks. You need to have something to add into that. Now, you also will need to practice safety precautions. So you need to have a mask and you also need to have gloves because resin is a toxic chemical and you don't want to inhale the fumes too much. Most important, you need to be in a well-ventilated area. Now, that depends on where you're at. Right now, currently, I am actually in an extra spare room. So it's pretty big. I do have some fans in here. I do have windows. A lot of YouTubers or people who use resin will tell you that that's not enough. But unfortunately, if that's all you have, you gotta work what you got right now. So I try to keep it well ventilated, but I also try to choose the type of resin that don't put out too much of a smell. But that's another discussion for another time. If you're just getting started as a beginner, I do have a few videos out there which you can click by the card above here or in the link in the description down below. The two videos I have out there for you guys is what is epoxy resin and what is UV resin. Because believe it or not, there are two different types of resins out there in the world. Also, I also show you how to do your very first projects using either the epoxy or the UV resin, making simple pendants. So make sure you click that card above right here or you click the link down below. So where do you purchase these things? Well, the first spot I like to tell everybody is Amazon. Amazon has everything. I mean, everything you can possibly get for resin. Now, I do have a resin starting pack that I'll put a list down below where you can click on those links where you can purchase some of the supplies that I've used through Amazon. Now, disclaimer, I am part of the Amazon Associate Program, so if you do click on anything down below with the links, I do earn a small commission. So I just want to give you a heads up right there. It's about 30 cents to maybe 50 cents per click. So every little bit helps because then I can buy more resin and have more resources to make videos just like this for you guys. Now, besides Amazon, which I am kind of biased because I do love Amazon, my second spot would be any craft or hobby store, whether that's Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby. All those places are great. Even hardware stores sell some of the resin, but please be careful when you do the resin from the actual hardware stores because they are kind of industrial strength, so they might be a little bit stronger because they're mainly used for home projects like covering up your sinks or some projects like that. So make sure you read the directions carefully when you are getting any type of resin because some resins are made for one thing, others for another. So definitely read the instructions. Side note, if you do decide to go anywhere outside Amazon, like who would go outside Amazon? It's perfect. 2-day Prime delivery. Can I get an amen? You can also use coupons for some of the hobby stores. So if you like to go into the store, then there goes your first choice. But if you're like me and you love Amazon, then click down below for some of the links and you will be able to get the same stuff that I use as a starter. What is the best resin for beginners? The one that you can afford. That is probably the best answer I can give for that because everybody in the whole world will say that this resin is better for this resin is better for that, and it all depends on what you can actually afford. When I started with resin, I started as a gift. It was a Christmas gift that I got a few years back. It's called Castin Craft. It was a 2-part epoxy, part A and part B. That one was what I used for the last year into the following year, where I just decided to get another Christmas gift from my parents, which was called Art Resin. Now, I am not sponsored by any of these products that I'm using. I just happen to use them and found what I like. Today, I use Art Resin. Now, this is not anything sponsored by them. I just prefer using them because it's the one I like. It has a little smell for me that I can tolerate, and it works. It has UV protection, so if I do decide to cover up anything where I need to have protection from the sun, then there has a coat protection on it as well. It works for casting as well as coating, which is 2 different things, which I'll make another video on that later on if you like. But I love Art Resin. It's the one I use. I'm a jewelry maker, so I use it for jewelry maker as well as other charms. Like currently I'm making dominoes, and I'm actually using Art Resin to make these dominoes. So I love it, and you know, that's just my personal opinion. I like using Art Resin, and I got that from Amazon. The best tip I can give for beginners is have fun. Guys, working with resin is so much fun. Once you start, trust me, you are not going to be able to stop using resin. Yes, it is expensive, but it is so fun to use resin because you will be thinking, what can I put in resin next? I mean, that is probably the question I ask every time. What can I make, or what can I put in resin, or what can I do with resin? So just have fun, experimenting with it, playing around with it. I mean, yes, you probably have questions, but the best way to do it is to get your hands dirty and get in there. Another tip is go to YouTube. Just like you found me, guys, on YouTube, YouTube is your source for everything. Which, by the way, if you're liking this video, make sure you hit that like button, you hit that subscribe button, you hit that thumbs up button. So that way you get notified on videos like this, on anything about resin or any other crafts that I might be working on. But once again, shameless plug. Yeah, definitely start with YouTube because I probably watched thousands of YouTube videos before I even started my first pour on using resin. But yeah, YouTube is your go-to source for everything. So not being biased, but love me some YouTube. Another tip is you gotta have patience, guys. Resin is not a quick project. Now, if you're using UV resin, that is a quick project. That's about 5 minutes. You know, it comes in one bottle, you cure it under the sunlight or under a lamp, and it's done. But the bottle's about that small. Whereas the epoxy resin, you can get them in some gallons, and that lasts longer because you can mix more and do more projects. So this is not a patient hobby. So if you do not have patience, then I probably want to start with resin right now. But if you want to test your patience and learn some patience, then definitely get into resin because it is fun. Trust me, you will be so thrilled when you make your first piece. And I'm not gonna lie, but taking out your first piece out the mold can be so relaxing sometimes, just the molding it. It's just so woo-saw to me, but that's my opinion. The last tip, guys, I can give you is definitely learn from your mistakes because trust me, you're gonna make some mistakes. Everybody does, you know, if you're just getting into resin, you're just learning how to use resin, there's certain things that you still don't know. You're probably still watching YouTube videos, which, yes, stay on YouTube to find some videos, but eventually you're going to have to jump off it and work it yourself. But what I did when I first started, I had YouTube open in the background and I was working along with some of the artists. So if you're not ready to jump on it by yourself, then keep YouTube on and just follow along with some of your favorite YouTube artists who's working with resin because that's the best way to learn. It's just like going to school. When your teacher would teach you, when your teachers were teaching you how to do your ABCs, you was in a classroom and you kind of said A together as a class and then you kind of drew it on your little board with the little line paper, which, hello, show my age on that one. You know, so, but yeah, you have to work together with your teacher. So let YouTube be your personal teacher to kind of teach you the do's and don'ts on how to use resin. Are you a beginner who has a question about resin that I did not answer in this video? Then make sure you drop that question down below in the comments and I will make sure to make a video just like this, or I'll come out here and answer the question face to face, or I'll make a video showing you how to answer that question. So make sure you drop that question down below. As well as make sure you hit that subscribe button, you hit that like button, you hit comment, you share, you thumbs up, ring the bell, do anything you can so that way you can be notified when I make videos just like this or anything in my future. Once again, this is your girl Stephanie with Steffi Jewels, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope to see you soon. Bye.